Hello, this is Charlene. We are going to solve this log equation. We have been given 6 times log base 2 of 2 is equal to log base 2 of 8 plus log base 2 of a minus 2. So they expect us to know the log rules. Some people call them the log properties. So the log rules are 3 different rules that we can employ. One is the power rule, and the second one is the product rule, and the third one is the quotient rule. Okay, so the power rule has to do with exponents, and the product rule has to do with addition. So these are exponents, like an exponent like that, like x squared, that would be the power of the exponent. The product has to do with plus or sums, and quotient has to do with subtraction. Okay, so we have to see how we can use those rules to manipulate this equation into a format that we can then easily solve. So our goal is to get it in terms of log to a base is equal to blah, 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 blah. And then that's going to be equal to log to the same base of blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the goal, though, is to get it to just log to the same base and the same base. So this has a log to a base, and this is the same base and the same base. However, there are 2 logs. It's a log plus a log on this side. So that's not acceptable. We need to get it down to a log. A log is equal to just another log, not 2 logs. So that's our goal, is to eventually get this kind of format. So we're going to use our log rules over here to help us get it into that format. So let's go ahead and erase all this stuff, and let's think about it. We have the power rule. The power rule says that if I have a power that is actually in front, it's in front of this log, I can actually move it up to this position right here. So we're going to do that. We're going to rewrite that. We're going to rewrite it as log base 2 of 2 to the 6th power. So we've just employed the power rule to move that around, and we are allowed to use that rule and to do that. Okay, so over here we need to see that we have now a plus sign. So the plus sign, the sum, has to do with products. So when we have something that is 2 logs to the same base but they are being added, this product rule over here says that I can rewrite it as a product. So I can change that to log base 2 of the 8 times the a minus 2. So let's think about that again. We're going to essentially, because of this plus sign, we can take this number and this expression and we can multiply them right here. Okay, so that's what the product rule tells us that we are allowed to do. Okay, so at that point, do we now have essentially a log to the same base, log base 2, log base 2. So those are the same. And do we have a log base 2 and a log base 2 to the same thing, or to something on both sides? Does that make sense? So like, these are the same. Therefore, now we can say that this is equal to this. That's what the rules allow us to do now. So let's go ahead and do that. We can now set those arguments. So we actually call those arguments. This piece right here, the log base 2 of something, this is the argument. They call it the argument. Argument. Okay, and that's also an argument. Okay, so we can set those equal to each other. We can say 2 to the 6th is equal to 8 times a minus 2. And at this point, it's just rather simple. Algebra 1. Solving and simplification using order of operations. So we need to figure out what 2 to the 6th is. So let's pull up our handy dandy calculator and figure out what 2 to the 6th is. So 2 raised to the 6th power is going to be 64. Okay, so 64 is equal to, and we're going to go ahead and distribute this 8 into the parentheses now. So it's going to be 8a, and then 8 times the negative 2 is a negative 16. At that point, to finish solving it, I'm going to add 16 to both sides, so plus 16, and those are going to cancel. So 64 plus 16, let's see, that's going to be 74, 80. So 80 is equal to the 8a, and then I can divide out the a on both sides. So therefore, that means that my a is going to be equal to 10. Okay, so the only other thing that we need to do is just make sure that it's not an extraneous answer. And so we would need to kind of plug that a back into the equation to make sure that it makes sense. So at this point, we've got the a is right there. So if I plug in log base 2 of 10 minus 2, then that would be equal to log base 2 of 8. And that's a perfectly acceptable configuration. We are not allowed to have logs of negative numbers. If that had made that a negative, then that would be an extraneous and not usable answer. So hopefully that helps you think through the process. Just click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, and come back soon. Thank you.